Let's talk about travel chaos. Is it on the roads? Is it on the trains? Is it on the planes? Well, it's usually all three, isn't it? But this time it is the planes, and passengers still suffering after an outage, some sort of technical error that we saw with air traffic control in the UK that affected many thousands of passengers, including my own daughter, on her way back from her travels. So thank you very much for that 4 a.m. wake-up call. Let's talk to Lisa Minot. She's travel editor at The Sun. Good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning. Can you hear us? Are you on mute? Hello, Lisa.
I can hear you.
We can hear you now.
I'm on mute. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. Can I just clarify? You look like you're somewhere rather nice. Where are you?
I'm on Porquerolles. I think you know it well.
Oh, she's in the south of France. Oh, God, how jealous are we all right now? It looks very nice down there. She's got the sunglasses on. Are you actually on a boat right now?
I am on a boat. I'm apologising for the fact I am on a boat. Sorry.
I love that she's bobbing around. This is actually cruel, OK? We're seeing here, I've got rain coming down outside this window. We've got people with travel chaos, people not able to go on their holes, people long delayed. And there you are sitting on a boat in the south of France. And then we've just lost the signal. What? Lisa, you'll be the death of me. Look, let's talk about this then, and hopefully we can get her back on the line. But hundreds of thousands of passengers across the UK still suffering travel chaos after. I mean, it's amazing how many people can be affected by this after the air traffic control failure, grounded planes. This was at the start of the school summer holidays. So they say it was a radar failure at the air traffic control provider NATS, and London airspace was closed for more than an hour after a radar failure that lasted 20 minutes. But, London airspace being closed for an hour involves hundreds and hundreds of planes. I think we've got Lisa back on her boat. Lisa, talk us through what we think we know of what this technical error was and why it had such big repercussions.
Well, this was just a 20-minute outage of the radar system at Swanwick. So that's the National Air Traffic Control Centre at Swanwick. And just 20 minutes of a software glitch has meant that 155 flights were cancelled yesterday. And we're still seeing those issues today, with flights being delayed and cancelled into today. Airlines are absolutely furious. They are so fed up with the NAT system. We've had Michael O'Leary calling for Martin Roll's resignation. And we've also had Heidi Alexander today on the phone with NATS, trying to work out exactly what went wrong and how we can stop it happening again.
Well, indeed, Ryanair boss Michael O'Leary was saying he wants the boss of air traffic control basically to go, because he says that we've had problems like this before and they haven't basically come up with a contingency plan for what to do when it happens again. And we've had problems at different airports before. And at the end of the day, it's the airports that have to. So the airport can have a problem, or is air traffic control in France is nearly usually the problem for delays for us. But it's they were out on strike every other day. But the airlines are the ones who kind of have to pick up the bill and end up dealing with it, and they get the bad reputation from people saying, oh, well, I was flying Ryanair, I was flying BA, and my flight was delayed, and they associate it with the airline, and the airline doesn't have to give them compensation because it's not their fault, but people have to give them vouchers. Sometimes they might need a hotel if their flight is cancelled and they're overseas, and they end up having to deal with all of the fallout, and then there's no repercussions for the people who had the failure.
Exactly that. And it is the airlines that are actually funding the National Air Traffic Control Service. So you can understand their frustration when they're the ones, it's costing them millions of pounds. So the last big outage we had was in August of 2023. That was over the bank holiday weekend. And over 700,000 people were impacted by that one. And there's huge frustration from the airlines because it does cost them millions on their bottom line. And they want to see that these systems are much more foolproofed, that they're not going to have these kind of outages again, because just 20 minutes still saw 155 flights cancelled yesterday.
And it wasn't just
tens of thousands.
And it wasn't just cancellations. It was so many flights were delayed for hours and hours after that. I say my daughter had and a friend had a late night flight on the way back from 4 weeks of travel, and they ended up, having to get a train, at Gatwick, at 2 in the morning, and they get home at 4 in the morning. Young teenage girls travelling in the middle of the night because of this of these problems. but there's no, but they're not entitled to a single penny of compensation, not a single penny. If it was the airline having a technical fault, they'd be entitled to a couple £100.
That's exactly right. And that's why the airlines are so frustrated, because they're the ones, as you say, getting the bad reputation. They're the ones that the passengers quite rightly will take it out on them. But obviously with the number of flights that are flying at the moment. So at one point last night, BA normally would have had 45 flights a minute taking off and landing.
Wow.
And they were reduced to 32 flights. And that's a huge amount of difference in terms of planes sitting there on runways. We had reports yesterday of people sitting on runways for up to 6 hours waiting for...
And again, we know, and a lot of us have had that post-lockdown where you go, oh, we've got all the planes going on time, lovely jubbly. You get in, the plane doors are closed, and then they say, really sorry, we're going to have a 3-hour sit on the, on the tarmac. And then, you'd be, there's no plane I get on, whether it's just going to be an hour's journey or anything, that I don't take full snacks for 6 hours just in case, because the chances that it's happened to me too many times. But you feel for the people who are, who've got young children, babies, trying to deal with all of that. And the staff can be as wonderful as they are, but it's a pain. But the thing is, for a lot of people, I'm very lucky. I get to do a lot of travel, okay? You're looking at short haul. If someone's, long haul travel, or someone's they're going away for a weekend, for a family event, a wedding, say, people travelling on, they've taken time off work, they're freelance, they're self-employed, they don't get paid when they're away, but their holiday flight has been cancelled, they can't get away. There's a massive impact. People save up all year to go on their summer holiday in July, and this has a massive impact on people's lives.
Yeah, and we've already seen it. It's really the IT systems that seem to be the issue every time. Just a couple of days ago, we had the e-gates that went down at both Heathrow and Gatwick airports. So, we're seeing it time and time again, that it's the resilience of these IT systems that needs to be looked at, because they are so vulnerable to problems. And that's where, at a time like this, when you've got so many people travelling, it can lead to real issues. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, again, what we need is basically sort of, upgrade everything in terms of our infrastructure in all areas of travel, trains, planes and automobiles. But we've got an announcement, we understand. Heathrow, they're poised to announce their third runway plans, and the Prime Minister is going to unveil more plans for airport expansion. I mean, that's something to be welcomed, but no doubt will cause chaos for years on end.
That's right, yes. So Heathrow have come up with their plans. They're being put forward to the government now for the third runway. This could almost double the size of the number of passengers that would be able to take off and land at Heathrow. We're talking about 2 new terminals, the creation of another terminal where Terminal 2 and 3 used to be. So there's lots going on, and it is a positive step, but we need to make sure that the government is giving everything it can to making sure that these don't get caught up, like so many times in the past, in years and years of committees and various different processes. It needs to start, and the idea is that Heathrow are saying we're ready to start, and that we will be ready for 2030.
Yeah, good luck with that. We'll see. I mean, I think it's... I think that my entire life there has been conversations about that third runway at Heathrow, and I'm 57 years old. It's a long time. Lisa Minot, we're going to leave you. I know you're gutted about that as you sit on your boat in the lovely Mediterranean, the south of France. I just looked up. I know where you are. It's 27 degrees there, everybody. So we're all going to have pity on Lisa and her terrible, terrible life. Thank you so much for joining us. It's wonderful. Every summer she can go around the whole world. She can go. Lisa Minot, travel editor for an international newspaper, and they have family camping holidays in the south of France. They go to a campsite. Oh. Yeah, absolutely. She loves it. Absolutely loves it. Yeah, but I know exactly where she is right now. I'm just like, very jealous. But it is. I mean, it is just chaos, isn't it, Philip? And we just get used to the idea. Oh yeah, we're just going to have chaos. I mean, and the fact that we're reliant on the French air traffic controllers not being on strike. Which is, roughly 3 days a year when they're not on strike, for all of our routes out of our country to anywhere going vaguely south or east is a big enough problem. But we need to have tech that works. We're supposed to be a first world country.
Well, exactly. And you're given our congested airspace and how busy Heathrow is the busiest airfield in the world.
It's not just Heathrow, it was all the airports.
Well, exactly. But given your Heathrow's unique position as being the busiest airport in the world, you'd hope that NATS would have a backup radar system, that if one goes down, another one flips in and you don't notice it. And I don't understand how something's gone down for 20 minutes, yet you get flights stuck on the ground for 6 hours. Yeah, this is crazy. And on the Heathrow third runway bit, in 2018, no idea flip-flop care voted against it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, you're in that ridiculous situation, again, without having the extra leeway. So our runways of our major airports, they are operating at full capacity all the time. There is no leeway. So if there is a problem like an outage like that, and again, we had that ridiculous chaos, you know, there isn't any spare space. You know, we just don't have it. It's like our hospitals. If you run at sort of 98% capacity all the time, if you do have a major bout of flu doing the rounds, you don't have any bed spare, whereas for instance most other European countries run at about sort of 80-85 max capacity, so that there is always that leeway. We have no leeway in anything, whether it's the trains, whether it's on the roads, whether it's in planes. Every NHS, our schools are operating at full capacity. There's no space. Those kids from private schools. We're just kind of, we're on the edge. We're just constantly waiting for the next disaster.
Yeah, can we get our politicians to start working to that level as well? You know, they seem to focus on things that are irrelevant to this country.
Yeah, well, indeed. Very, very good point. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that. If you were afflicted, if you also had a 4 a.m. wake up because of those traffic delays,